Hey folks, just checking my setup here. How's it going, folks? This is a first for me because I just improvised a tripod. I have a tripod, but I had to improvise a mount for the iPhone to be mounted on it. I always do my videos by hand, basically. But I seen some foam flexible tie wire for plants, and I said, I wonder if I could twist this around my phone and make a video. So you're actually gonna see me lube my chain on my bike as I bend over and stretch my back. So I did actually just want to make a little video on this bike. What's up, folks? It's gonna be weird. I'm gonna have to watch this to see it later. But I gotta lube my chain, so I actually wanted to make a video talking about this bike a little bit and how it's been since I've owned it for 3 years or so. It's really dirty right now. I took it to work and I left it out in the rain. It wasn't supposed to rain, but it did. So this is my 2018 model. I've had it since the spring of 2019. I only have 6,300 miles on it, maybe. I don't ride it that much, but a lot of time I'm just using it as like a commuter vehicle too. I'm pretty busy with the charger and stuff and all those other projects and different shit. So I don't really get enough time to just ride and motorcycle, but I've done some other videos on this and the mods I have on it, like the stem ram mount and the Oxford heated grips, these bar ends, and that's really all I've done to it except for the bulbs. I got LED bulbs in there and an LED programmable taillight. Some of the things that have gone on with this bike since I've owned it, excuse me, allergy season has been really hard on me this year. The only thing that's really been odd in this bike since I've owned it is occasionally it doesn't want to start back up when it's hot. When I stop it, get off, maybe take a leak on the side of the road, something like that, and it'll nice sound effects, right? And it doesn't want to jump back up and start unless I give it just a hair of throttle. At first I thought it was this switch down here, but I checked that and went through it. It's not this switch. I think it just has to do with the idle speed, might have to be adjusted a hair, and I'm going to do that later. But other than that, the bike has been mechanically and performance-wise outstanding. Nothing's gone on with it. It seems to use front tires faster than anything else. This is the second front tire I've had on it. The ones that came on it, the Bridgestone, are they Battle Axes or S20s? I think it might have came with it. I think they're S21s on it now. Let me see. There's a model. My lighting in here is crappy. The first set weren't that great. They felt weird. I replaced them, and these ones turned way better, felt way better. I can't find it. It doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure this is an S21 though. Yep, S21R is what these are. The S20Rs or whatever they were sucked. I wore that front tire out practicing, doing like Moto Jitsu basic style U-turns and figure eights and circles and stuff. Wore the front tire right out, and I had to replace that in under 3,000 miles. But it still seems to wear front tires faster than anything. I mean, if I abused the bike more and hammered on it more, it would definitely eat up the back tire, but I don't really do that. I'm basically old and I just want to ride around. But the front tire wears. I don't know if it's because I'm a fairly heavy guy, all dressed up. I probably weigh like 260, and the bike's a little front heavy, and it's like 500 pounds. So maybe it needs more of a touring tire, with a little harder compound off the center line, because the center line doesn't seem to wear. It's off the center line. Both sides seems to wear out quicker, and you can feel it steering within 2,500 miles of wear. I'm not really happy about that, but other than that, those two issues, which I'm going to try to address the starting thing, nothing else has been bad with it. I've adjusted the suspension to where it should be pro, or like, via, professional guys online telling you how to do it. It's got awesome wear patterns on both tires, so I know the suspension's right. I've adjusted the clutch, I've adjusted the throttle a couple times after it was new because they get a little initial stretch. Other than that, it's been super stable. Anyway, today I just lubed up my stand here because that was getting a little dry and not wanting to return. Other than that, this thing's been killer. The one weird I don't know about performance, but design aspect of it has been the gearing, the gearbox setup. Here's a quick tip. If you're like me, take some white paint and just paint one outside link. That way you can easily see when you start lubing it how many times you go around, and if you've got the whole chain. There's one rotation full of the chain, and there's done. 2. This is chain wax. I don't know if there's it just says Maxima chain wax, chain lube, paraffin based. Must be great, right? That's all I do. Use this to catch the overspray so it doesn't get on your catalytic converter and stink or start a fire. That's how this is still the original chain. It's this, before I get into the gearbox, this adjuster on this bike is amazing, great. This Ninja 1000 ABS. This is an awesome, it's like a big cam. You just loosen it up and you rock it. You put a ratchet in there, and you only have to deal with one side if you do it correctly, because it just moves the whole wheel forward and back. It's great, super easy. But I have a love-hate relationship with the gearbox on this bike. Shifts smooth, really good. The one thing is, if you're touring, the gearbox is awesome for down low when you're picking your way around a parking lot, or you're moving around doing some small maneuvering, like I mentioned before, the Moto Jitsu type stuff. But it also seems like a hair bit too close of a ratio. Now, I don't know if they might have modified it in models later on, but this is like super low first gear. And then, so a lot of times I end up split shifting or skip shifting. I go from like first to third or fourth to sixth or any permutation in between, because you don't need the spacing unless you're really cranking it or whatever. But I end up skip shifting a lot on this. It seems to perform fine, and you have more than enough torque. But it also, being so low geared, it seems like sixths should be a hair higher. But I understand it's a touring bike and they don't want you running 180 miles an hour on it. But I think that's a separate discussion. But it's not like it's a big complaint to me. It's just sometimes it's not right, and then other times it's perfect. And I guess that's kind of what you have to deal with, because you don't. It's almost like all-season tires. If you have an all-season radial, it's not really great for the rain, it's not really great for the summer, and it's definitely not great for the snow. But it does everything a little better than each specific tire. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really use a summer tire in the snow at all, right? But you know what I'm saying. But so that's the deal with the gearbox on this. It's, if you're touring around in like small little back roads and the mountains and stuff like that, and it's awesome. If you're freeway touring, I would say it might be a hair low. Whatever. You got to take the good with the bad, right? So other than that, this bike's been really good. I'd love to try a newer version of this with the LCD screen and the clutchless shifting. But, I mean, that doesn't really bother me too much. I actually like the dual mufflers. They have a really cool sound. Kawasaki designed this with the rider in mind for sound. Like, I haven't really heard, I've never heard anybody drive this. I've only ever been the one driving it. But apparently it's real quiet. But when you're on it, it goes through multiple stages of sound for the rider to hear. And apparently they designed it that way. But you'll get like a quiet, just puttering around tone. You'll get like a mild performance. And then all of a sudden, it being the 4 individual exits, it gives you like a 1970s, almost a Honda 754 sound vibe for like a couple thousand RPM, and then it jumps into like a deep superbike howl. So it's really cool. The sound modulates in your helmet. It gives you different sounds. It's pretty cool. But overall, you know, I'd give this bike probably an 8.5, 8.75, 9.5 out of 10. It's right up there for what they were aiming at. It's super hard to get a sport touring bike, but man, this, I don't know if there's one closer than this on the market. You know, I have a big love for the ZX14R. I would love to see them bring back something like the ZX12R, where the air bubble in the stance was a hair more like the 12 or like the 14. This could use a little more wind bubble like the 14R, but I don't want that extra weight. You know what I mean? I prefer the bike to be lighter. So man, if you could make this a 1250 and have the stretch it a hair at the same weight, that would be a killer touring bike. That's about all I have to say anyway about this today. I'm gonna watch this video and see how I look on the tripod, which is weird. I've never done this before, I don't think. And go there. Maybe I'll publish it, or maybe you guys will never ever see this. I don't know. See the top of my bald head because I'm old. Take it easy.